Okay there, young ones. Hope you're having a good day back to school. But as you know, spring break was over at 8 o'clock this morning, so I hope you're ready to work. So let's get started. Let's start with having you have your green packet out. It looks like this, except of course green. And you should be looking at page 1, facing the screen and paying attention. I'm going to go through some directions, and I want this to be clear so you can totally function on your own today. Okay, so let's get started. Now, as you recall with this assignment, we started last week finding sources. Now I'm going to have you look down here with me to this week, which is March 28th to April 1st. So today we're on Monday. Of course, your 5 sources, which again should be supporting an argument that you came up with that should explain what you believe a person needs to do to be happy, healthy, successful, effective, whatever. So you should have these 5 sources, and they should be from credible authors, and they should support your argument or maybe even go against your argument, but they should be printed, read, and annotated, ready for me to check when I get back on Wednesday. So you're going to use those now, as it says for Monday, to type your works cited page. And again, you should have 5 sources, and I need that works cited page ready to be turned in tomorrow, Tuesday. Which, if you take a look, speaking of Tuesday tomorrow, here it tells you where you're going to be meeting. Second and third hour are going to be in E200, not E201. And 5th through 7th hour are going to be in D200. And again, that works cited page is due on Tuesday. Now, just a quick reminder, we've been talking about works cited. You've been doing several works cited over the course of this year. I just want to have you look at the screen right now. This is that sample paper that we were reading together last week. And at the very bottom, you have this. It's on page 4 and 5 of the green packet. Here's a works cited. Look at the screen right now. You can see we have sources that are alphabetized right over here, right? Author, last name first. And remember, whatever is in this number 1 spot, I just highlighted the first one, that's what's going to go in your parenthetical later. Okay, not anything over here. Everything in this number 1 spot. Other things I've been noticing on works cited pages, we got to make sure we're italicizing websites. We have to make sure we're italicizing book titles, which again, I'm highlighting those right now, so you should be looking at the screen, seeing what I'm talking about. So do make sure you're italicizing. The other big thing I see is date format. Remember, we have to italicize, or we have to abbreviate the month, so make sure you do that as well. But this kind of thing right here, you can see it in the sample paper. This is what I need to see tomorrow when you get to class. Okay? If you have questions about works cited, when I get finished, I'll have you answer each other's questions. So that's page 5. Now let's go back to page 1. So the goal for today is type that works cited page, as I just said. But here's the thing. If you finish that, you got to go to the next step. And I need you to be the basically adults that you are and read this pretty much as a to-do list. When I think of being an adult, I think of being able to function independently with goals set up for yourself. So here's your goal, and you can function independently. So here for Monday, you see type works cited page. We talked about that. Now, if you finish early, which is possible because you're getting good and better, definitely better at works cited, you should go on to Tuesday's directions. So Tuesday says works cited is due. Revise your outline. So I'm going to flip through some pages here to show you what I'm talking about. So if you finish works cited, the next step according to the schedule is revising your outline and then turning that outline into a rough draft. So at this point, you should have a document that looks like this, right? You remember this. Sample rough draft argument outline. Yours was probably handwritten, and remember it had the 5 components that a good argument should have. We have claim. I'm pointing these out. You should be looking at this, and remember you have this of your own. Claim. Reasons, probably 3 of them. A warrant, which again explains how reasons prove claims to be true. Okay? We should have background and evidence. I'm scrolling on the page. You should be looking at yours right now. Background and evidence. This again explains context, what people would need to be able to understand your argument. And now, last thing that should be on here, counter arguments. What does your opponent say? And rebuttals. How do you defeat them? Again, you can see in this sample one, here we have the 2 counters, here we have 2 rebuttals. I'd try to at least have 2, although I'm sure you could come up with more. So you already have this. Now Tuesday's task after Works Cited is done is to create a document that looks like this. You're looking at the screen, you're seeing this. Now in your green packet, I want you to flip to the back side. So you're on page 6 now. It should be the same as what's on the screen. I'll give you a second. Okay, that's a second. Now take a look at your page 6 and on the screen. What our author has done here, and this is going to be a different argument, it doesn't really matter, I just need you to see the format. Our author has taken her rough draft argument outline, again that looked like this. Look at the screen right here. She took this and she turned it into page 6, this. Now let's talk about what you're seeing here. Here at the top you can see introduction. If you go to the bottom, whoopsie daisies, you can see conclusion. Okay, what should go in both of these in this outline? I need to see the most important thing, which is going to be claim, reason, warrant. You're just going to type that out right here, put it all together. Again, this is a totally different topic than what we've been looking at in this sample outline, but it just gives you a picture of what to do. So here the author put her argument. We called this an enthymeme, claim, reason, warrant. For our purposes, it's the thesis. Okay. Now you can see up above she added source information she wanted to use in her intro. That's fine. You could do that. You could just put some ideas how you want to start your intro too. Alright, now if we scroll down, you're still looking at page 6. That's what I'm showing you here. She started out by giving background, and here you can see she uses her source information. So you're going to take the same stuff you had on your rough draft outline, this, under background and evidence. You're just going to type it up to look like this. Look at the screen right here. And then the big thing is I need you to add your source information. The goal for this week is you're going to take the stuff your sources said and fit it into places for your argument. So you can see she's put information she wants to use. Now she didn't exactly do parentheticals correctly. She just put the name of the websites. If you want to make sure you're really on top of things with your parentheticals, you can, like we already talked about today, use the stuff from your works cited right here. Put the things in the number 1 spot, the items, last names, or article titles. Those will go in your parentheticals. Okay? Let's get back to the outline though. Let's get back to the outline. There we go. Okay. So background listed first, and again, this should correlate with the rough outline you already have. Now here she put her 3 reasons, or 3 arguments that support her central argument. We call these reasons. You can do that here too. But I would build it out to look just like this. And again, the main thing is you're not only putting the reasons right here, but you're putting source information you need to use to help you write this paper. Okay, you can see she did that right here on the screen with her 3 arguments or reasons. Now underneath that, she's got counter arguments listed out with source information. Okay, and again, she ends with the conclusion. Now, you should have a document like this for Wednesday's class. So what I'm telling you is, if you finish that work cited today, this final draft outline is due. It should be worked on. I'm sorry. You should be working on this outline as soon as the work cited is done. So what I'm telling you is, no shenanigans, no crazy stuff, boring stuff. Work cited and a final outline. Okay? No, not too much fun. You just had a week of too much fun. So that's what we're working on today. Now, of course, if you finish this, the next step, I'm going to flip back to page 1 of the checklist here. After you finish the rough draft, where am I at? Right here. After you finish the final draft outline, the next step is, I'm highlighting this for you, start typing rough draft, which is due the Tuesday of the next week. So really, you don't have to freak out about this, but there's no downtime here. It's works cited that should look like this. It is, after that, a final outline that looks like this, page 6 of the green packet. And then when you're done with that, you should start turning that outline that you just made into a paper that looks like this. You have this. It's on page 4 and 5 of the green packet. We already read it. So that's the goal for today and the upcoming days. Now, do you have any questions? I can't answer them. Sorry, my bad. I'll have you, when I'm done talking, raise your hand if you have questions, and then other classmates should help you understand. Okay? Okay, now just a few other things. You know that you had one major assignment due today. That was the book report. What I want you to do is, if you have your paper, just have the rubric on top. I can staple them for you later, or we can pass the stapler around now. But I'll have the sub come and pick up your papers, just so it's not too much chaos. So just have your book report paper handy. If you did the presentation, we'll be presenting Thursday and Friday. And so just make sure you have your rubric and presentation accessible for me. Okay? Okay, I hope you have a great day and it's productive, but it's not too much fun. Okay, take care. I'll keep in touch. Ask each other questions now. Bye-bye.